Well, today I'm joined by Ining Chao, and Ining is our Associate Dean for International Education. Welcome, Ining.
Hi, Shelley. It's nice to be here.
Thanks for joining us. So I think to start, maybe you can tell us a little bit about your background and the experiences that you've had that you think in your background have best prepared you for the role that you have right now at SLC.
Sure. As you mentioned, my role here at SLC is Associate Dean in our international office, International Education. I came to St. Lawrence about 4.5 years ago now. And when I started, my role was really dedicated to implementing quality assurance at our affiliates, both in Canada and in China. But my portfolio has evolved since then. I work with the academic division on the quality assurance, but I have shifted my role into more about focusing on managing the English as a second language programming. That includes our customized training, as well as developing the global and intercultural learning for all of our students. So that includes study abroad, but also internationalization or learning at home here. I've also, in the past 3 years, leading the comprehensive internationalization initiative at the college. So this project has laid a foundation for us to launch into our new global engagement strategy, which started this year when you came to our department, Shelley. So I feel like I am starting a new chapter of my work here at St. Lawrence College, and I'm loving every moment of it. In terms of my background, my background is in education. That's who I am. I call myself an educator. And I started my career in designing courses, programs. A lot of that is online courses and online programs, beginning in the late 90s when technology was really coming onto the scene, changing the education landscape a lot. So I work a lot with faculties to use educational technology in a very creative but also pedagogically sound way to help people learn better. And that's what I love the most, just instructional design, curriculum development. I really see that as where my passion lies. And I was really fortunate to work on a lot of projects that has an international dimension to it. So some of the programs I develop get delivered overseas, cross-border. Some of the programs are in Canada, but attract an international audience. So I began to start exploring the intersection between education and culture, right? So that's kind of how my professional path led me to that, but also my personal path too. I'm in a mixed racial marriage. My kids are mixed race kids. So that's always a huge interest for me. So I decided, and of course I'm also an international student, right? So I decided, okay, I really want to look at this more seriously. So I studied, I have a certificate in intercultural study from University of British Columbia. I've also enrolled in doctoral courses at University of Victoria to look at intercultural competence and really, dig into the research and understanding it better and using it in my practice. So overall, my background, I guess I can say I am very, very addicted to learning. So that's a good personality trait for instructional designer. And the more I explore learning, try to help people learn, the more I find the intercultural competence, your identity is a very big part of that. And that's what I would like to contribute to my field and to St. Lawrence.
Well, it's really interesting how you describe your background too in that kind of holistic way. So the whole, you bring your whole self to your role, like in terms of your professional and your personal background. As you say, that's your identity. That's who you are. So given your background, your experiences, and the role that you're playing at SLC, what would you say is the most satisfying part of your role in international education?
Yeah, so when I was teaching in the classroom with students, I share my experience being a student, international student, a lot with them, right? So I would say I can completely understand how they are feeling, what struggle and aspiration and rewards you really get out of this journey. And for me, the big part of that is English is my second language. So when I started my study at the master level in Canada, it's quite a shock to me to try to adjust. Not just using my language at very high level. You have to be thinking, you have to be discussing topic, writing, high-level reports with the language that you just learned as a tool, not your native language. So I'm very familiar with the struggle, but also the reward. I don't want to just highlight, this is difficult. It is difficult, but because of it's difficult, the reward is in proportion to that. So when I see students fully embrace that and fully live up to that challenge and get the most out of their learning journey, this cross-cultural learning journey, that's what really I feel really satisfied to see that, right? I can help students realizing their dream, but also focusing a lot of their skill development, their learning about navigating these cultural differences and get so much out of this.
So the last thing, sorry, did I interrupt you?
No, I was just thinking, I was talking about my teaching experience, but I don't teach now. So my interaction with the student now is more as administrator. So I do guest teaching once in a while, and I really enjoy those. But a lot of one-on-one with students too. So I think right now it's a little bit twist than from me in the classroom being able to talk to students directly. But I do feel like, every time I can give student reassurance and support, do all I can to support them to say, yes, your journey is going to be wonderful. It's going to be challenging, but we're here to support you. So again, that's what I see my role, and I really get a lot of satisfaction out of my role here.
So, and as you said, Ining, your role as an educator is broadly speaking, working, sort of the classroom environment, but as an educator, the ways in which that you're helping our community, engage with a global mindset is certainly a big part of your role as an educator as well. So the last thing I was going to ask you is, what advice do you have for members of our community who are working to support international students? And I guess more broadly, the advice that you have as we become a globally engaged college community.
Yeah, I would really encourage everyone to be very open to this learning from each other and discovery, all the wonderful things that you can get from a cross-cultural interaction, whether that's student from a different culture in your classroom. And I also want to mention, we do have a lot of immigrant students here too. So even though they're not technically labeled as international students, but they are Canadian and they bring that diversity to our country. So they also show up in our classroom. So I guess my advice would be really employing exchange mindset, right? Because a lot of the time when we think about these intercultural interaction, we put our focus outwards to say, oh, we want to welcome the cultural outsider into our community. And that's great. That's absolutely wonderful. We need to do that. But at the same time, we also need to commit to our own learning. A student once told me, like, the more she travels outside of the country, experiencing different culture, the more she learns about herself and her own culture. So I think that's what we need to focus on, is the mutual exchange and sharing that we can get out of this experience. And the advice really is just be open, right? Be very open. Do go outwards to experience the new, to look for the exotic, but also focus inward, because you will discover your capacity to expand your knowledge, to expand your perspective, and your horizon is just endless, right? And that's what you will really enjoy too, if you are open to that idea and the opportunity.
Great. Well, thank you so much for your time, Ining. It was great to speak with you.
Thank you, Shelley.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.